these other two tools that do AI ad management type stuff, utilize those and compare and contrast to what Google is sending you. Google is the salesperson, if you will, right? Does Google have a vested interest in your success? They do and they don't. They can only do so much and are going to want to do so much. At the end of the day, they want to collect your money. If you have success or not, that's your problem. So by comparing, using these different tools on your Google ads, because they can get expensive, you can refine things and try things and just make sure that, that's working for you. Hey, welcome to SEO Tactics. Hey, we're going to talk about a couple exciting tools, and they're basically tools that incorporate AI that you can use in your business. And we're going to go through a full list of them. We use a lot of these tools in our business for our clients. And really, this is kind of a wrap up of, let's say, all the tools we use or some of the tools we use. And basically, if you have any questions on any of these tools, feel free to reach out to our site, Local SEO Tactics, free SEO audit. Go ahead and click on that, and we'll be more than happy to consult with you to, talk you through any of the tools. Basically, what we do as an agency is we provide all the services it's going to take to get you found in Google locally. So whether that's through what we call the SERPs or the 3-pack. So let's just jump right into it here and kick it off. So there's various categories. I'm going to go through the categories. I believe there are 6 or 7 that we're going to cover today. So automated review management. So basically, when you do get reviews on Google, and some of these tools will do this for Facebook and some of the other socials as well. But when you do get a review, it gives an automated response. So why do you need that? You need that because Google wants to validate that you're a legitimate entity and that you're actually, reactive and responsive to the customers, which, we need to do as businesses anyways. So that's one AI tool we're going to talk about. Personalized email campaigns or management. There's some tools that will help you with that. Chatbots for lead generation and customer service. Those are becoming more and more popular and in a great tool. We'll dive into that. Smart content creation, the tools to help you with creating blogs or pages for your website. Local SEO enhancement. So these are tools to help you with being found in, let's say, that 3-pack position. Ad campaign automation. These are tools that you're going to use in your Google ads, your Facebook ads, and there's a few of those. Really cool what they're doing again with AI. So the way to look at AI in some respects is, can you go out and create all this stuff yourself through ChatGPT? Yeah, you can make your own ladder if you want, right? You can go grab a bunch of 2x4s and slap them together and boom, you made a ladder. Or you just go down to Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever, grab a ladder and be done with it. So that's kind of the way to think of this. A lot of these tools have been around for a while, but they're incorporating AI more and more and therefore becoming better in what they do. So, and then voice search optimization. There's some tools that kind of help you out in that area as well. We're going to cover those real quick. So hopefully it's a great podcast for you and helpful in many ways, but let's just jump into BirdEye. So BirdEye is a really good tool. And what you're going to see with a lot of these tools is they actually cross over. So some of them do some of the things that we're discussing here primarily, but they have some crossover in terms of they do other things as well. So you're going to have to kind of evaluate that to figure out, okay, what's the best fit for me and what I want to achieve with these tools. So BirdEye is a great tool for reviews. It has a lot of other uses too, but reviews, and you can see as we discuss these tools, they basically incorporate AI or at least throw AI on the name, so to speak. But BirdEye has been is a proven stalwart out there for a lot of these things, but reviews is it's for sure solid capabilities. The next one we're going to talk about is Podium. Podium isn't one that we use per se, but we do have clients that use it. They've had good luck. Again, if you look at it, in the different solutions, they have review management, convert leads. They've just got different attributes. So Podium might be a little bit cheaper in that, and they kind of do this niche, so to speak, where they're saying, hey, we're really good at retail, auto, aesthetics and wellness and everything else. And that can be helpful. So again, if you're in those industries and you just want review capability for that industry, they've got a template, it's ready to go. Might be worth pursuing that. Grade Us is another one. We don't use it. We know some of our clients that do. It's very helpful. And again, another review management that incorporates AI, so to speak. Apparently they got a fraud alert thing here going on. Okay, we're going to jump into email campaigns and personalized email campaigns. So these next two we're going to talk about have been around forever. And again, they're starting to incorporate AI into helping you, let's say, create the email. My biggest challenge with email campaigns is really figuring out exactly what I need to say to try to spur people to take a look at the email. So, things like subject lines and other things, and then the body of the email, the offers, the things like that, I struggle with. So, anyway, MailChimp is solid. They understand their processes. They understand how to warm up an email list if it's a fresh email list. Very good company, constant contact. Again, another one, just you can't go wrong with some of these. They have 30-day trials. Obviously, take advantage of that. Experiment with it. Just, it's, again, they're incorporating AI. It isn't like it was, let's say, 5 years ago where it was just, here's your email list, plug it in, and they distribute it. They do more with it. I wish I had more information on this. This isn't my strength. We have people in our agency that are very good at it. We'll probably do a separate podcast on that here in the near future. Active Campaign, again, sorry, jumping around here. Campaign, they're another great email marketing company. They've been around for a while. I would say just jump in and try some of these, really research them. But these are the three that I would research, study, and try to figure out what might fit your company the best. All right, so then we're going to jump from emails to basically chat. So chatbots. Here's some advice I would give you on chatbots. We use chatbots with a couple of companies, and I would say the chatbot culture, depending on your age, be careful. So I'm older, and I can understand the symbol. I work in the industry. I understand the symbol of what a chatbot is. For instance, we'll just take a look at this here real quick. This is a chatbot, right? This little deal here. Okay. So we click on it. Hi there. How can we help you? And that's okay. But what I would say is skip the little symbol. This needs to pop up and say, hi there, how can I help you? Think of a chatbot like a retail experience. You walk into a store and there's customer service people there, but they're kind of off to the side, ignoring you, whatever the deal is. And they see you're obviously wandering around looking for some help. This chatbot, in my opinion, needs to pop up and say, how can I help you? And more importantly, if you have a service offering that's really straightforward, right? Its pricing is straightforward. Everything else is straightforward. That chatbot, in my opinion, needs to pop up and say, click here for a free estimate. Click here for a free quote. Click here for an instant, okay? Because we're all busy. It's an ADD world. We're looking for an instant answer. So when I come to your site, I'm looking for answers. So I would argue that a chatbot really needs to portray that. It really needs to say, click here for instant estimate, instant quote, instant pricing, however you want to phrase it, but it needs to do that. It cannot be, I hate to say it, but it can't be, in my opinion, this subtle little deal down here in the corner. Again, that's your customer service person that's way the heck out of the way. When what I want is when you come in my store, I want my people to greet you and say, hey, how you doing today? If you have any questions, let us know. I'll be right here working, be glad to help you. That's what a chatbot needs to do, in my opinion. Okay, so Tito, there's a lot of really good ones. So ManyChat is kind of the leader in the industry right now as of this recording, which is more or less August, September of 2025. So again, all these folks, this is effectively an AI. And the thing with chatbot too, that you need to understand what you could do in terms of implementation of your chatbot is you need to quit thinking of chatbot just for your website, obviously. It needs to be for all of your socials, TikTok in this case, WhatsApp, Instagram, I would presume Facebook as well. So if somebody lands on your Facebook page, you can pop up and just say, hey, how can we help you? Can we give you an instant quote, instant pricing? What is it? What action steps can you help that customer with? What answers or what questions are they going to have that you're answering right away with this chatbot? So hopefully that makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We can kind of give you some insight on how I would structure that. Again, this is another player in the industry, ChatFuel. I don't know a lot about these folks because I don't really use them. Now, what we do at our agency, just to be clear, is we can use some of these, but if it's a more sophisticated chatbot, we have the ability to program and customize a custom AI chatbot. It's really cool. We can do all the things that these guys can do. The difference is we can actually go more in depth with your data set. So if you have a more sophisticated industry that requires not only, let's say, quoting a price on a specific thing, but blending labor in it or some other sophisticated nuances, that's what makes us different in terms of offering our custom chatbot. I would say 90-80% of the people out there can get by with any of these three. There are probably 10% of the market that really requires more of an in-depth custom chatbot. That's what we can do to help you out with. Let's talk about content creation. There's a lot of ways you can pursue this. You can pursue it through any of the large language models as well. If you do that, you've got to have some SEO experience in terms of how to structure, let's say, a blog in terms of the H1 headings or the structure for that blog. So a lot of these content creations will allow you to do that, but then they actually help you with some of that. And some of them will actually go out, take a look at your competitors, because what you're trying to do with your content is bridge that gap. In other words, you want to do what your competitors are doing, but then also a little bit more. In other words, AI can figure out where that content gap is that you can fill with your blog article and answer questions that your competitors aren't. So anyway, Jasper has been around forever. They're solid. They're consistent, a great entity all the way around. And they've been using AI forever. They had their own AI probably for, I want to say 8 years. But obviously they're getting better with incorporating more of the large language models. Copy AI, here again, is another great content creator. I haven't used them. We have, again, most of our content is created in-house with some large language models. But again, if you're just starting out, these are great tools. Rightstock, same thing. Their entity here, or their deal, is to talk about how to get more visibility in ChatGPT and some of the large language models. Our goal as an agency, just so we're clear, is we're coming out here with a service in addition to a regular SEO called AEO our goal is to get you into 4 large language models locally. So again, most of our clients are local. We're trying to improve their local presence, but also local as it relates to chat. In other words, best pizza restaurant in Chattanooga, right? So to do that, you have to be focused on content that feeds the AIs. We'll have more and more information on that as we go on with our podcast, because that is the shift, obviously, from SEO to AEO. And we need a transition. We all need a transition in that shift to meet those needs. So anyway, Sonic does a really good job in that area. I'm going to shift to local SEO tools. And this is a tool that we use a lot called BrightLocal. And so BrightLocal will get you, in my opinion, will get you, depending on how competitive your niche is, what the market is like. So if you're Manhattan versus, Fargo, not to pick on Fargo, but Fargo is less competitive. The population density is less, where Manhattan is super competitive. And depending on what it is you're doing, it can require a lot more effort. So what BrightLocal can do, in my opinion, is take care of, let's say 80% of the market in what we call the local SEO, the GVP. And then if it's more competitive, that's where we have to step in as an agency and kind of help with a lot of other variables in terms of getting you in that 3-pack. But BrightLocal is really cool. They have this tool where you can type in your search term and then your exact city, and then it shows you how you're showing up. And it's agnostic, meaning if you do the same thing on your computer and you type in that search term, comma, that city, it's going to give you a different result based on your search biases and possibly your geolocation. So if you're outside of that city and you're doing that exercise, it's not going to give you an agnostic report, truly showing what a first-time search might look like within that area. So BrightLocal has a bunch of services, citation building, again, helping with your local SEO. And then Yext is another service that I didn't mention it, but it's not super cost effective. It's okay, but I think BrightLocal is a better performing product in this area. Surfer is another good one. You're welcome to check it out. We don't use it, but it does help with some of the local, both the SERPs and what we call the local or GBP, GMB performance metrics there. MozLocal, same thing. You can look at, it's a tricky deal here. It's kind of interesting. When you look at their plans and pricing, I've never seen a situation, this is funny. I've never seen a situation where your yearly billing is actually more than your monthly billing. So we take 16 times 12 is 192. But if you pay up front annually, you get to pay an extra $7. Not a big deal. This is funny. I mean, I would hope they get it figured out. I'm not sure why it's set up the way it is, but you're actually better off paying monthly for this service for some reason. Anyway, Moz is a stalwart in the industry. They know what they're doing. We're biased towards BrightLocal. We seem to get the best results. And you can look at all their offerings here and check them out. But again, I'm biased towards BrightLocal. All right, let's talk about ad management, AI and ad management. So we use, again, most of our stuff we use an AI product in-house that we've developed. But again, if you're an individual business, I think these are tools that will certainly help you. AdZuma, again, if you're going to dig into your own ads, there's stuff that they will help you out with. Again, try the free platform, make sure it works. And then, once that's evolved, you can dig into some of these other features that'll help you. So, basically these, as you go into the different services and stuff, you're going to start to get into more of like if you're a smaller agency or if you're an entity with several, businesses or at least divisions, that'll work out. But, again, a lot of these AI systems we're going to go into here, WordStream has been around. For instance, they have an ad management tool. They've been around for a while. They know what they're doing, and they have a good data set. So what differentiates a lot of these organizations is the fact that since they've been around a while, they've been able to collect a lot of data off API functions or whatever, and off of different searches to come up with this data. And then they can take that data and help you with AI for things like ads and other performance metrics for your website. So WordStream, of the few I'm going to talk about here, and there's actually one last one that's actually probably the most effective, but you can, if they have a free offering, I would try, obviously they have a free Google Ads offer. I would try these different tools in addition to this last one. So the last one makes the most sense in some ways, but it's your Google ad. They have a smart Google ad creator, if you will. It's called Smart Campaigns. Utilize that. The only reason I mention the others versus this is, here's my theory in life when it comes to, let's say, buying a used car and you're not sure what used car to buy. Okay. And there are some cars out there that look cool, but you don't want to own. And what I usually do when I start evaluating, let's say I have to buy a car for my son and I'm, there's different brands and this is my budget, I actually go talk to my mechanic and say, if you were buying a car, what brands would you avoid? And then I usually go to the mechanic and I usually say, hey, I'm looking at this model. What are the pitfalls? What do you see? What goes wrong with them? And then they can educate me and say, you need to check this particular component before you buy it. And if it hasn't been switched out or it's at this mileage, don't buy it or use this as a negotiating piece for the car. What I'm trying to get at is this. These other two tools that do AI ad management type stuff, utilize those and compare and contrast to what Google is sending you. Google is the salesperson, if you will, right? Does Google have a vested interest in your success? They do and they don't. They can only do so much and are going to want to do so much. At the end of the day, they want to collect your money. If you have success or not, that's your problem. So by comparing, using these different tools on your Google ads, because they can get expensive, you can refine things and try things and just make sure that, that's working for you. Again, we do this all in-house for their own custom software and AI scripts that work very well. So we don't need to use these per se because the one-off, these are fine. But for an agency, it was worth our time developing the proper tools to do that. So SEMrush. Oh, okay. So now we're going to jump into our last topic. I'm sorry this podcast is so long, but I think it's packed with some pretty good information. So voice search, if you want to understand or try to gear your website towards voice search and understand, I would say voice search is important. This is an important deal because voice search is very similar to AI or AEO in the principles. They're looking for longer. As the sophistication of Google and AI evolves, search is becoming more long-tailed, in my opinion. And then it's therefore becoming more sophisticated. So you have to understand the voice of your customer and how they're going to phrase things. A good example is iPhone repair, quickest iPhone repair near me, right? Two different things. One has a little bit more intent than the other. When you say the quickest iPhone repair, they're not messing around. They want it repaired. So therefore, you might want to gear your voice search and all your other searches, or dedicate a page to that, talking about. So you're showing up more prevalent in the searches. So these tools will kind of help you mastermind that or work on that. And SEMrush has some capabilities and resources within it. It does a lot of other things too. We've looked at these tools, SEMrush and Ahrefs, what their strengths and weaknesses are. Depending on the sophistication of your business, the budget you might have, you might want to utilize both tools. But this has a capability in it for helping with voice search and to some degree AEI, right? Or AI. And that's all blending together. So I don't know if that makes sense. Chat Meter is another, we don't use it. I'm not familiar with it, but we have agencies that we work with back and forth. They utilize this to some degree. I haven't heard anything bad about it, but I would say go ahead and check it out, see what it can do for you. And then Rank Math. So Rank Math is a pretty cool company. They have a lot of cool tools, SEO plugins. Again, a lot of features that cross over. So as we covered all these, they have a content AI feature to it, right? So they have, while they're good with some of the features we're talking about, they also cover a bunch of other features. So I know this is kind of a jam-packed deal, but hopefully that gives you some help. If you have any questions on any of these, feel free to reach out to us. You can go to our website, Local SEO Tactics, either click on the free audit. You can call us directly even. We have live people that answer. Every once in a while, I pick up the phone, can answer questions. So thanks for your time. I know your time's important. Hopefully this helps you out. We'll talk to you next week. We have another great episode next week that is hopefully packed with information that will help your company out. Thanks.